Oh boy, I heard there's a new event that just started. Can't wait to see what it is. Is it Bill Nye or our first month-long event or... Oh, come on! Okay, so when no new content came out on Monday afternoon, as the party on Omicron event was ending, I predicted that probably no event was going to start until this Friday. And, well, I was almost right. Okay, so technically, this is an event. It's almost exactly like the one we got last Friday, except it's a little easier. You only need a level 19 robot to actually have access to this final tier. For actually grinding, I'm probably gonna use my Bender, currently at level 18, but I also might use the next 3 days to level up Burglar Bender. He's required for some things on Chapek 9, and he's involved in a fun side quest in the sewer levels on Earth where he steals Raoul's fingernails. It's totally optional. You don't even need it to 100% that mission, but if you've got him, it's a nice way to farm for more chips if you need them. But do you need more chips? Look at this! That's the reward here, and for me, it's kind of an underwhelming one. If you're far enough along that you were able to handle the Omicron Persei 8 map, then this one is a breeze, and you can get a whole row of peta chips. Those have been mostly removed from the game currently. A lot of side quests used to give them out, and optimal farming strategies seem to revolve around figuring out which path would give you the most possible peta chips, but I don't think TinyCo liked how easy that made chip grinding. Most of those got downgraded to Giga Chips or a few Tera Chips. You can see them, they're the medium-sized big ones with the hole in the middle there on that second row. They're worth about 410 experience each. It's still pretty good. If you can clear all of these rows, then you get a whole bunch of career chips and 5 pizza. That's it. That's it, really. They did not even come up with a story for this week. It's just this trapezoid grid and some easy career chips to scoop up. But career chips are even less exciting than Nixon Bucks or Hypnotons were. If you're consistently using your fuel at every possible opportunity, which personally I'm definitely not, like I'm trying my best to make good use of it, but it's really low on my list of priorities, and... there it is. Yeah, alright, okay. Yeah, I just leveled up with a fuel tank. Case in point. But even with doing that a lot, and even leaving my Planet Express idle a lot, I still have a ton of career chips. Look at this. Look, I'm still scrolling. I don't know, how am I ever going to use all of these chips? TinyCo, please do not seek retribution on me and find a way to make this grind even harder. I take it all back. Please, just let me sit on my career chip hoard. Just let me sit on all these chips like some kind of computer dragon. It's fine. This is fine. I'm not complaining. It's fine. Let me have this. I'm a dragon.
So it's all come down to this. A dungeon and dragons.
So this event, it does feel a little weak. A lot of you at home are saying, or probably have been saying, I don't know. I can't hear you on this end. What's going on here? I have a few theories. Possibility number 1. This is just further catch-up. Maybe people are still really far behind. They just wanted to hand out some more freebies to help prevent people from falling even further behind the curve. And I have seen a few people who claim to actually be out of career chips. If you don't like the space missions very much, or have only been doing the minimum number of missions required to progress in the game, I could definitely see that happening. Ideally, you should be doing a little grinding whenever you have the opportunity, just to get your character levels up as high as you can. It's a little anti-fun to do that, though, and having the occasional micro event like this does help a lot with that grind. Possibility number 2! The next event, whether it's gonna be week 2 of Extra Scientists, or whatever our first month-long extravaganza turns out to be, it's gonna have probably pretty high expectations of our progress. And I think TinyCo has realized that if maybe they released the event as it was a week ago, it would have been chaos and bedlam with the player base to expect everybody to be up at a really high level. Whether that's related to what characters they expect us to have unlocked, or what levels they expect those characters to be, I don't know. We're being given a lot of level up material right now though, so I wouldn't be surprised if they expect us to have a few characters in the 19 and 20 range for whatever's coming up next. Now is probably a good time to pick out a team of 4 characters that you really like, and ideally start slowly pushing them towards the max level of 25 if you can. My suggestion, scientists are always a really good choice, particularly Farnsworth and Amy. They do splash damage, and those two are required for a lot of specific missions anyway. So 2 birds with 1 stone, you can progress both things. Fry, and to a lesser degree, Leg Mutant, if you're far enough in the game to have him, are also required for grinding things out on Earth in the mutant levels. So they're not bad places to put your career chips. But that's an all-damage team, which isn't my favorite. So probably you're going to want to have a captain, an influencer of any kind, and at least 1 robot to try to get high-leveled. Just for some variety in the specials and mission paths you have available, you never know what they're going to actually be asking for. We don't know what's coming next, and it's probably good to be prepared. Possibility number 3! Potentially, TinyCo is actually way behind schedule on their production. Maybe the next event literally just wasn't ready yet. Their artists could be behind schedule. 2D animation is a laborious process that takes a long time and is hard to rush. Maybe the assets are all done, but the errors that happened in the first couple events have made TinyCo reevaluate the balance of mechanics. And they just wanted the extra time to run some QA, quality assurance, to make sure that this event launches smoothly, which is not a bad idea. A pretty sizable portion of the player base got locked out of the Pimperoo event entirely. Apparently it happened on accounts that had played on both Android and iOS, generally so they could pick up Pharaoh Bender. But that's not an exploit, it was an intended feature that was in the game, so they should have been able to catch that bug or at least fix it quickly enough that people were able to participate in the first event in the game. Too many bugs like that and those players are going to quit a game entirely, so a little time to polish is not a bad idea. These ideas aren't mutually exclusive, of course. I think there's at least a nugget of truth in all 3, though possibility 2, concerning future events, gives me the most pause. I think we're about to enter the era of nearly non-stop events. And I know you may be thinking that's a bit of a rush judgment on my part, seeing as we're in the middle of a week that is almost entirely downtime. But the reaction surrounding this downtime is precisely my evidence as to why we're about to not really get any more of it. This week has been slow. I've seen it visibly in the traffic and conversation topics here on my channel, but also on the forums. Some people have already finished all the content available to them, and the number of people who have unlocked Leela and thus begun the process of twiddling their thumbs is going to increase by the day. Everything in my metric says that the game's momentum is slowing down a little bit, and I know TinyCo's got to be aware of that as well. They have all of the game data. How long people are spending logged in, how often they're doing so. All I can see is the table of contents. They've got access to the entire book. You see, this game has a certain rhythm to it, and it's a rhythm that isn't for everybody. If you're used to a conventional video game, one where you log in and spend hours at a time doing quests, playing matches or rounds or clearing levels, then this type of game probably feels a little weird or confusing. It's not active enough. I know it's got the space missions, but you're rarely going to be logged in for more than a few minutes at a time even with that. But still, there's constantly something running in the background that is the next thing you're looking for. Maybe you log in every hour, maybe every 2 or 4 or 8. But you can send people off on actions for those set periods of time, and then, like clockwork, you come back and check on them. You're rarely playing the game, but at the same time, you're never not playing it. The game has to maintain that rhythm, and to a certain extent, give you some kind of carrot on a stick to just give that rhythm a beat. There needs to be something with a sense of urgency to keep you checking in, or you start to lose the pace. Currently,
Lord, here we go.
Currently, I'm working on Leela. She has 2 items, her boots and her Rislo Jackamator, that both have a chance to drop every 8 hours. That means I have to check in ideally 3 times a day at least, just to keep that working optimally. I'll probably have her in the next day or 2, barring incredibly bad luck with drops, and after that, my pressure goes away. How often do I check in?
Who are you?
probably for a while, I'll keep sending out all of my dudes on regular interval actions. 1 hour, 2 hours, maybe 4 or more if I know I'm going to be busy. But after I get a few of those characters up to max level, it stops feeling like there's a good reason to do it. And I mean, there is a good reason, of course. If I want to get ahead of the game, I should ideally be continuing to farm money and career chips to make sure I'm ready for whatever comes up next. But that kind of anticipatory gameplay isn't nearly as sustainable. If you don't get something to throw your stockpile at relatively regularly and quickly, you're going to start checking in less, maybe once a day, and eventually not at all. If the urgency dies entirely, so does the game. These events may just be a band-aid that is helping us level, maybe help the game get fixed up, or maybe it's just some nice freebies to help us prepare for whatever's coming next. But make no mistake, the next event is coming soon. It has to.